Planning a lesson with Comprendo. The Comprendo digital resources are very helpful to prepare your lesson plans across core subjects in bilingual or dual language K-3 classrooms. Comprendo integrates a neurological approach with the 5E model and sheltered instruction strategies for effective learning. When students have a strong foundation in concrete, symbolic, emotional, and social learning, they can move to the analytical, logical, critical thinking to deal successfully with problem solving, decision making, projects, essays, or tests. All teachers recognize the importance of concrete learning that means to learn through senses and movement, as well as Bloom's taxonomy of higher learning skills such as logic, analysis, integration, classification, or synthesis, among others. Bloom's taxonomy is very useful to understand the left hemisphere processes, but it can be expanded to include concrete and meaningful learning. This expanded taxonomy gives the teachers ideas to create learning activities. Neurologists and cognitive psychologists contribute to education in understanding how we learn. Many of their basic principles are embedded in Comprendo because we learn better through multisensory stimuli, exploration, patterns, positive emotions, variety, context, and repetition in time intervals. These digital content and principles can enrich and expand teachers' resources to plan their lessons. An excellent summary of the neurological approach in learning is provided by John Medina in his book Brain Rules. To learn more, visit brainrules.net. How can you integrate Comprendo to your lesson plans? You may have your own lesson plans or district templates, but we are going to show you an example using a Comprendo lesson plan template to teach Science TEKS 8C, the water cycle concept, in 2nd grade, elaborated by Mrs. Gabriela Campos Uzle. This is a real demonstration at Mrs. Campos's classroom at Wooten Elementary School at Austin ISD. First, engage students and connect learning to prior knowledge or experience using songs, media pieces, games, rhymes, or videos. Mrs. Campos asked some questions to her students, and then she invited them to participate, using hands and motion while singing the water cycle song.
Water runs off and goes into the ocean. Is this true or false?
Okay. Cari, ¿sabes la respuesta? El agua de las lluvias termina en el océano. ¿Verdadero o falso?
Verdadero. El sol calienta el agua y así se transforma en amor. Que sube, formando una nube. Y cuando se enfría, gotitas caerán.
The teacher promotes and develops academic vocabulary throughout the lesson.
Pensamos en el ciclo de agua, tenemos a la evaporación, condensación o precipitación. Precipitación, muy bien, gracias.
The students listen, speak, and repeat language patterns like songs, rhymes, synonyms, or vocabulary words. Mrs. Campos opened vocabulary words and posted questions related to the water cycle process.
El agua es líquido. Un río largo, pero...
Then, the teacher guides the students to explore, involving the multisensory approach to stimulate more of the senses at once, including movement. Students can also explore through imagination, drawing, representation, graphic organizers, and emotions. Promote enjoyment and collaboration through telling, dancing, collecting, rhyming, singing, mime expressing, completing, inventing, or connecting around the topic or vocabulary. Mrs. Campos models the water cycle lesson using mimicry to represent the process to the whole group. Then she promotes turn and talk strategy in bilingual pairs for reading.
Vamos a ver cómo estamos en lectura en español.
Los rayos del sol calientan el agua y así se transforma que sube, formando una nube, y cuando se enfríe, gotitas caerán. Al lagos y ríos, al agua del mar, las cartas de lluvia van a regresar. El ciclo termina y vuelve a empezar, porque es como un cuento que nunca se acaba. El sol calienta en el agua, así se forma el gaso vapor, que sube, formando una nube, y cuando se enfría, gotitas caerán. Al lagos y ríos, al agua del mar, las gotas de lluvia van a regresar. El ciclo termina y vuelve a empezar, porque es como un cuento que nunca acaba.
Sí. Alessandro, ¿qué es evaporación? Y Alessandro me va a decir. Evaporación es cuando el agua se convierte a...
The teacher explains and models concepts to expand learning using academic language. Then she guides independent practice in bilingual pairs. The students can share through different strategies like turn and talk, question and answer stems, think, pair, and share. I say, we say, you say, using complete sentences.
Encuentras agua.
Students are guided to elaborate activities or projects to develop thinking skills throughout the lesson. By making graphic organizers to show categories, cause-effect, or cycles. By reading and writing complete sentences. By questioning, discussion, and feedback. The students can share new learning in pairs, small groups, or with the whole class.
Muy bien. Ok, entonces vamos a trabajar con nuestra pareja bilingüe. Vamos a reportar, vamos a colorear y vamos a escribir los conceptos.
Finally, to close the lesson, the teacher reviews critical elements of the lesson. The students learn and apply new learning. The students share reflections and conclusions with the entire class or in small groups. The teacher guides, monitors, and evaluates through quizzes, tests, experiments, projects, or rubrics. Mrs. Campos posted questions and opened the formative assessment in Comprendo.
Ok, Cari, ¿sabes la respuesta? El agua de las lluvias termina en el océano. ¿Verdadero o falso?
Verdadero.
According to John Medina, author of The Brain Rules, we are better at seeing patterns and abstracting the meaning of an event than we are at recording detail. Emotional arousal helps the brain learn. The brain needs repetition to remember. The information is remembered when it is elaborated, meaningful, and contextual. The way to build long-term memory is to incorporate new information gradually and repeat it in timed intervals. Stressed brains do not learn the same way. Stimulate more of the senses at once.
Diciembre es frío, llega el invierno, blanca la nieve se acerca ya.
Vision is by far our most dominant sense. We can recognize and imitate patterns because of mirror neurons across our brain. We recommend working each story or media piece in the whole group for at least 5 days. This process helps to develop the neurological network to enhance learning through the multisensory stimuli, patterns, context, positive emotions, and repetition in time intervals.
For my lunch, I eat meat, a little piece with veggies too, plus potatoes, rice, and cabbage.
Si yo quiero crecer fuerte y tener buena salud, el día inicio con cereales, frutas, zumos y yogur. De comida, vegetales, carne con moderación.
Using Comprendo ESS digital curriculum, the students will have a multisensory experience that caters to different learning styles. Through this approach, the likelihood of retention is increased. By involving the senses, symbols, and emotions, students can learn language and other core subjects easier through linguistic patterns, as songs, rhymes, and synonyms that appear across all subjects in Comprendo.